beautiful people, and welcome. In this video, we're talking about a slope-intercept form. Now, this form is the equation of a line. So we're going to be talking about graphing, we're going to be talking about y-intercepts, and things like that. As always, if I make a mistake, I am human. Let me know where the mistake occurs so that way we both can learn from it. And let's get started. So the slope-intercept form is this form right here, y equals mx plus b. Now this form is going to become your favorite very, very quickly. There's two other forms that we're going to learn, but slope-intercept form is the easiest and is the most favorite of all students. So what does everything mean? So y is just the y coordinate. And x is just the x coordinate. So that just means if you have, here's a thinking bubble. If you have a point, x and y, this is your x coordinate and this is your y coordinate. Don't really mean much unless you have a point. The m is what is important. The m in this bubble represents the slope. Now the slope is the rate of change. That is where we are doing, here's another thinking bubble, up, down, left, right. And again, if you're in my class, you should know this, but up is positive, down is negative, left is negative, right is positive. Rise over run if you're in a different class. And then our other most important is your B. Now B, when you take B, you always have to take it with the symbol. Okay. B is your, let me change colors here. B is your y-intercept. So that means that we have 0 for x and y is your B number. And that's going to be your point on the y-axis. All right, take a few moments to write all of this down. I'm going to show you exactly what it means to graph something given the slope-intercept form of a line. Again, all of this is of a line. This is a linear equation. Let's actually put that in a bubble. This is a linear. Let's see if I can write linear. That'd be great. This is a linear equation. That means it makes a line. And actually, you know what? While we are at this, I'm going to do another thinking bubble. And this bubble is a Q&A. How many points do you need to make a line? And the answer to that is you need 2 points. So you need a point here, and then you have a line. Make sure that you have arrows on your line because it is continuous. It's not discrete, it's continuous. All right, let's do some examples. Example number 1. We have y equals 4/3 x plus 1. So how are we going to identify anything? We only care about the little m, lowercase m, and we only care about the plus b. Now this plus b can be minus b as well. I'll show you in a secondary example. So this here is m, this is b. So m is your slope. B is your y-intercept. And now what does it mean to be a y-intercept? That means it's a point on the y-axis. That means we have 0, comma, B, which means I have 0, 1 because b is 1. So your step number 1 plot the y-intercept point. So take this point and put it on your y-intercept. Now again, your y-intercept is your vertical intercept. So it's going to be this right here. That is your y-intercept. So we're going to sketch that on 0, 1. So 0, 1 is going to be here. Next step is to use the slope to graph the second point. So here's your slope. You have 4/3, so I have 4/3. That means 4 is positive, 3 is positive, so I go up 4, right 3. Okay, so if we go back to our notes, up, down, left, right. So the top number is positive, that means I go up. The bottom is also positive, that means I go to the right. So you're going to put your pencil on the y-intercept point, and then you're going to go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to go to the right 3 jumps, 1, 2, 3. So this is your second point. Now, how many points does it take to form a line? And everyone say together, 2. It takes 2 points to form a line. So now that you have your 2 points, you're going to grab a ruler. If you don't have a ruler at home, just use the side of a sheet of paper. Let's see if I have a sheet of paper. I'll do that in a little bit. Use a binder or your notebook. But you want to make sure that this is a line. Now, don't give me a little tiny line. No little tiny lines. You want a big line that goes through all of the given graph. Also, arrows are super duper important. This is a continuous line, meaning it doesn't stop. The arrows tell the person looking at your graph that, hey, this doesn't stop. That's it. And you have graphed a line. All right, let's try another one. Example 2. And let's see if I can throw in some negatives for you. Y equals negative 1/3 x plus 2. Again, 2 things that are super important. We need the number in front of x. That is your little m. That means that you have your slope. You want the number after x with the symbol. That means it is your y-intercept. So you have 0, number. So let's talk about the slope. The slope is negative 1/3. Now, read it the way you're saying it, or write it the way you're saying it. Negative 1/3. Or you can do 1 over negative 3. It is your choice which one you want to do. This is negative 1/3, or you can do 1 negative thirds. It is okay. I usually recommend writing it just like you're saying it, but sometimes you run out of space, so you have to switch it to the other one. It's your choice. So negative 1/3 is negative 1 and then thirds. And then we have our y-intercept. So y-intercept, let's see here. 0, number. So 0, what's our number? Our number is positive 2. So again, this is your y-intercept. Y-intercept is a point on the y-axis. So we're going to take 2 and put it on our y-axis. So step number 1, you're going to plot the y-intercept point. After this, I'm going to stop giving you the steps and we're going to do an example just doing the example. So plot the y-intercept point. Y-intercept is at 2. I'm going to give it a point there. Step number 2, use the slope to graph your second point. So it doesn't matter which one you do, this one or this one. This one is that negative is just kind of in between. So we have to put a home for that, or you have to make a home for that negative. So I chose the negative to be on top. So if we go back to our very first example, our notes, since my top number is negative, that means I go down 1 over 3. So here's negative 1 over 3. So that means I go down 1 and I go to the right 3. So go down 1 because this is minus, down 1 to the right 3. So I'm going down 1 to the right, 1, 2, 3 jumps. Here's my second point. How many points does it take to form a line? And everyone says 2. Now again, if you don't have a ruler, that is fine. Just use something with a straight edge, but make sure it is straight and sturdy. And that way you can make a line that goes through your entire graph. Make sure you have your arrows. Arrows mean that you are a continuous function. That means it goes on forever and ever and ever and never stops. All right, let's do one more example. And one more example. Let's see if I can find a good example. Ooh, let's do this. I'm going to give you a line and you're going to tell me how to write the equation for that line. Let's do that. Here's my line. And I'll give you steps. So let's title this writing equation for a given line. Okay, so step number 1, you're going to write your formula, y equals mx plus b. Now you're going to play the keep, change game. You're going to keep your y, you're going to keep your x, your m and your b. M you're going to replace with slope. And b with the symbol you're going to replace with your y-intercept. Okay, so how would this look like? So I have y equals something x plus something. So let's start with our y-intercept. So what number is being touched on the y-intercept? So if I go down my y-intercept, I notice that it touches at minus 3. So I'm going to write minus 3 here. Now I need my slope. My slope is rise over run, or up, down, left, right. First of all, is this an increasing graph or a decreasing? If I'm driving up or am I driving down? So if I had a little car here, here's my little buggy, and I'm going to be driving that direction, am I going uphill or downhill? Since I'm going uphill, I know that my slope is going to be positive. If we look at our previous example here, here's our previous example. Here's example number 2. If we had a little car here, if we had a little buggy here, and I'm going that direction, That means I'm going downhill and my slope was negative. But in this example, writing an equation for a line, we're going uphill, so our slope is positive. How much positive? Well, let's go up. 1, 2, 3 jumps up. And I have 1, 2, 3 jumps to the right. Now, you're not done because you need to simplify. This kind of looks weird. So I'm going to say 3 divided by 3. So y is equal to 3 divided by 3. That is 1. Then we have x. Then we have plus and negative 3. You can simplify to that just minus 3. But you can also get rid of that minus. You don't have to have that minus because 1 times anything is that anything, so you can get rid of that minus. And here is your equation for the line. Let's do one more example for an equation of the line. Let's do one with a decreasing slope. Okay, so here's our line. And again, I want you to write an equation for this given line. So y equals mx plus b. You're going to change your y, you're going to change your m and you're going to change your b. Change your m and change your b, take the sign. Everything else stays the same. So I'm still going to have y equals, m is going to be different and b is going to be different. So what is our slope and what is our y-intercept? Well, the y-intercept, again, is the point on the y-axis. So here is our y-axis. So what number is being touched on the y-axis? Let's look here. 3 is being touched on the y-axis, so we're putting a 3 in here. Now let's talk about slope. Again, slope is up, down, left, right. Up is positive, down is negative, left is negative, right is positive. So the top number is up or down. So am I going up or down? You can choose this point to go up. It doesn't matter. So if I choose this point to go up, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 jumps up, 3 up. And then I'm going to go to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 jumps to the left. Now I have to translate this because 3 up, 8 left can't go in here. We have to translate that. So how would this look like translated? Up is positive, so I have 3 positive. Left is minus, so I have minus 8. Now again, you can do 3 over negative 8, that's fine, but mathematicians usually don't do that. We usually just take that negative and put it out in front, so I have 3 eighths. Now if you decided to do it the other way, that's the same thing. So if I wanted to go down 3, so I go 3 down, and I go to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Down is minus, so I have a minus 3 over positive 8. Again, same thing. It doesn't matter if you go up, down, left, right to your second point. It's going to give you the same answer. So now I'm going to write negative 3 eighths. We need to make this a little bit more pretty. There's a lot of writing happening, so I'm going to choose to write my final answer here. My final answer is y is equal to minus 3 8x plus 3. And that's your answer. All right, beautiful people, I hope you enjoyed slope-intercept form. Again, it's going to become your favorite because the other two are a little bit more difficult. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one.